I despise the contempt of fools. There are so many people that are walking in this world forward, and yet their eyes are always pointed back. They're always focused on what was rather than what is or what could be. And you're just trying to live your life. You're just trying to be another human being that makes it in the world. And I want to see everybody make it. I don't wish anybody ill will, but I don't really have sympathy for anybody that's consciously choosing choices that directly go against their whole nature as a person. And as an individual, whether you are male or female, you're going to have certain attributes and characteristics that make you a male or female, not just physically, but psychologically and personality wise. And it's hilarious to see all of these people that are out and about and going blatantly against their nature and living lives that are basically construed with which mask to wear which day. These people are so confounded with the reality that they have to face that they choose to just not face reality at all. And that's a very scary thing sometimes to witness, because you know exactly what's going on as somebody that's awakened. You know exactly what's happening. You know exactly, and even if you don't know exactly what's happening, you have a pretty damn good idea of what's happening, and you don't really, you know that you don't know things, but you also know that when you know that you're right, you're willing to stand on principle and to defend that, and not in a way that is going to be character assassination attempts on other people or ad hominems or anything like that. There's going to be a sophisticated, godlike savagery about you where even when you are being kind, it's like, what's that song? Classic Man? I don't remember who it's by, but the lines go something along the lines of, I can pull the wool while I'm being polite, and I'm like a bull while I'm being polite, or something along those lines. And that's how a lot of godly people are. If you are a godly person that has any kind of discernment, which if you're a godly person, you are going to have discernment, then you're going to be operating on a level that most people don't even have the knowledge of existing. Most of these normies out here don't even know what they don't know. Okay, a lot of people don't even know what they don't know, and it makes them ignorant, but it also makes them arrogant in some ways. I cannot tell you how many times, even on my own YouTube channel, and there's a great abundance of comments on here that are very positive, that are encouraging and uplifting and provide great insight. But then you get those people that think they know what they're talking about, and they are acting as if they're an expert on this thing. But as soon as you question it, it's like the end of the world. But they can question me or other content creators or whoever all they want. But as soon as it starts to look like, oh, they might not know as much as they think they do, the walls start pouring in, caving in, the sky's falling, everything's going to be a catastrophe to these people. And I just have to sit back and kind of laugh a little bit, because I don't mind getting asked questions. I don't mind people trying to figure out if I'm actually saying what I think is true and what I know to be true and challenging my ideas. I don't mind that at all. What I dislike is character assassinations and ad hominems because of something they don't like to hear. Well, you may not like some of the things that me or anybody else says, but that doesn't mean that you get to just make these brash judgments because you don't like an idea or you don't like what I'm saying, even though there may be some merit to it. And these kinds of people are usually hyper emotional. They don't know how to separate logic from emotion, and they don't know how to discern logic from reason. You see, reason is a bit different from logic in my perspective. And from all of the research that I've done, and just psychologically and philosophically, and just practical analysis as a whole, reason means that there's going to be a level of spirit and truth involved, whereas logic means that there doesn't have to be a lot of spirit and truth involved. And if you think otherwise, well, have you checked out AI at all? Artificial intelligence, AI, is very, very keen on logic, but it's because it uses deductive reasoning. And if anybody's never heard of like truth trees, for example, truth trees I learned about in one of my philosophy classes in deductive logic in college, probably one of the most useful classes out of every single class I took there, probably one of the top 5 courses that I had at the university. And it was because it actually demonstrated how to hypothesize arguments and how to make truth trees for reasonable, practical arguments in regard to whether or not it's logical or not. So basically, there's a, like, you can think about it like this. Let's take an if-then statement. If X, then Y. Okay, well, then to make a truth tree, for example, and this is a mathematical way to think about it. It's not necessarily mathematical, but it sort of is. There's some things that you can plug in into like an equation. So if you assume X, then Y, what happens? Well, X is whatever X is, Y is whatever X or Y is, and therefore at the bottom of the truth tree, you can make a deductive reason using mathematical solutions of Y, if X, then Y. So to give you guys a basic rough down, you might want to do some more research on what truth trees are if you've never heard of them or anything like that, but that's a very basic form of it. And people just don't know how to think like this. People don't know how to think like internally for themselves a lot of the time. And it's because they're so caught up in the ideologies, they're so caught up in the dogma, they're so caught up in the demagogues, the idols that they have, the gossip. They're so caught up in these fantasies that they don't know how to live in spirit and truth, because it's kind of scary to live in spirit and truth. Like, it's not necessarily the most fun thing in the world to live in spirit and truth. And why is that? Well, because you have to face reality at every single point and every turn that you make. You know, I saw somebody earlier today that about a year ago had not necessarily a fallout, but this person was stalking me. And as soon as I began to document it, all of a sudden the monitoring spirit, let's say, evaporated like thin air. And today I was at the gym and I was doing my thing. I was just very, warming up. I was getting things under control, just kind of getting loose and limb before my workout. And as I was playing basketball, I turned the corner and I saw this person, and my whole body erupted with this sensation of fight or flight mode that never really happens at all. Like, the only time that this kind of stuff has happened was when I was living with my family still, and it was just a chaotic environment where you never really knew what was going to happen next. You didn't know if you were going to get a happy person or a sad person, like which day is which. Like, there was no consistency whatsoever. And I'm okay with keeping fresh. I'm okay with keeping things light. I'm okay with keeping things zesty, But, we're just always evolving. But man, that energy that I felt today was like, this person's back at it. Like, this person's trying to get back in my life again. And you got to be careful out here with these normies, because a lot of the men and women that are normies, they don't even know. They don't even know how much they don't know. And so you're seeing things from a spiritual lens, from a spirit and truth lens, and they're seeing things based off of ideologies, dogmas, etc. So they have no clue on what's actually what and who's who and how's how, which way is up, which way is down. And their personalities are so disconnected from themselves. Like, people that have to validate themselves externally, people that feel the need to be validated externally, are the people that I stay away from the most now. I tried to give these kinds of people a chance. Even earlier this year, I tried to give people a chance because I don't like to be the kind of guy that just, I'm not going to just shut people out because I shut people out. Like, it's going to be a reason for it if I do that. And so even earlier this year, there was some people, both men and women, that were in my community, my physical community. And, you know, I gave them a shot to be around them and such. And I always came away feeling drained. Like, I always came away feeling drained. And I realized that these people were seeking validation, not just from me, but from other people as well. Like, they wanted to be validated for what they were experiencing internally. And I understand what that's like. We all know what that's like. But to rely on that as your fuel source for life, that's a miserable existence. And that's why these people don't even know what they don't know. And that's why I just despise these fools that have contempt for us people that are godly, that see this stuff and cut them off. You know, we cut these people off for a reason. We don't just do it just to do it. We cut these people off because we see that even just being around these kinds of people, you're going to pick up on this kind of energy, and you do not need that in your life. You absolutely do not need that in your life. And as soon as you start to set these boundaries and such, and, you know, you kind of just fall off sometimes with certain people, sometimes if you don't talk to them too much. And I'll still have like acquaintances that I've met at the gym. Like, I've spotted certain guys or whatever. If they've asked me for a spot, you know, I'm not going to be just like, no, I'm not going to spot you. Like, I'm not going to be like that kind of guy. But I don't want to be friends with a lot of these people. I just don't. I don't want to be building anything with these people because I don't even have friends. And I like my life that way. I have people that I'm building with, and I have people that I'm not building with. And that's my boundary personally. I'm not saying you need to live you need to live the way that I'm living my life. But that's just me. That's how I've worked, because I know what people are like sometimes. I know how people can take advantage of your generosity and your kindness, even if you're giving it and you're not expecting anything in return. They're still taking advantage of it. And there's nothing wrong with giving people just to give. But if it's not appreciated, why are you giving it away? Why are you giving that stuff away? And there's nothing wrong with giving value, but I'm just tired of seeing godly people give and give and give, and having these fools, which is what they are. And I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm just saying the facts. These fools are acting like they know better. They know more than anybody else, all because they're participating in something that doesn't even exist. So what I really want to get across in this video then is more of a call for understanding who we really are and what we're really about, and being okay with letting these people that think they know more than you, just let them go. Like, you don't need to be involved with these kinds of people all the time. You don't need to be caught up with these people that have no clue of what reality is like. We're not meant to be a part of everybody's life. I don't even want that many people in my life at this point. Like, the only community that I really value and cherish is the ones that are actually godly, like the Regal Change Academy right now. Like we're growing at an exponential rate, and we're seeing people grow in real time and coming to certain realizations in real time. And it's amazing to see this kind of thing. It's amazing to see the profundity that God will give us in our lives when we just commit to Him. And that's what these fools do not want to do. They are foolish. They do not want to keep their eyes on God. They do not want to keep their eyes on the Most High. They do not want to keep their eyes on the laws, statutes, and commandments and following thereof. So why should we, as godly people, try to pretend to be nice to these other people that are just don't care? And again, like there are some older people in my community where I go on walks, and we're not always seeing eye to eye on things, but they're still kind and cordial, and so I'll be kind and cordial. I'm gonna give that kind of energy back. I'm gonna be reciprocal, but I'm not taking it farther than that. No way. No way. I've seen what kind of people they are. I'll be kind, I'll be cordial, but at the end of the day, like I just want to be doing my thing and building what I know is right for the Most High and His will. So, with all that being said, if you do want to join a godly community of men and women, we do have mostly men in the community right now because my audience is mostly men, but we're growing more in women. And if you want to join a community like that, now's the time, because this is where I think a lot of the future is going to be, is in these virtual communities where people that have felt isolated their whole lives are now going to come together and feel like, wow, there's actually people that understand each other. Like there's actually people that understand what it's like. And it's a cool thing to see, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of and to experience. So if you want to join that, there's the free Discord that we have available with a bunch of free resources, as well as the paid community where we have a weekly group call, as well as a weekly Bible session, and other kinds of classes and courses available for you. We do have more hands-on classes and courses coming down the line, and that's only $10 a month. It's less than your Netflix account for the month, and it's going to be way more valuable for you. So check that out while you have the opportunity to do so and be a part of something, not just for the bigger picture, but especially for you. And I want to thank everybody that has been moving from YouTube over to the X and the Rumble platform. I appreciate your guys' support. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Till next time.